not really what I envisioned. Driving 4.5 hours to have to put my mud gear on and get perked. Now, the old saying, I've driven further for less, comes to mind, but doesn't really bring me much solace. Had a pretty good day up until tonight. And I guess it wasn't a bad night. And I'll unpack the whole thing for you. I'll start with the last call, because fresh in my mind, I literally just came off the track. This guy has a lot of speed, and he's not your typical hothead. Like, just putting a screen, an ear hood, and earplugs, and a snake cord on him. Well, he wore the snake cord before, but that shouldn't have given him that 180. It was actually too quiet tonight. It was too quiet. It wasn't in attack mode. And although that sucks for tonight, because it really cost us, that will come back in time. I'm just so surprised how manageable he was after looking so unmanageable the last two starts. So, that's a feather in Jason's cap to be able to cool him down like that and have him behave. And the horses, a feather in his cap, so to speak, also. For him to be a young horse with not a lot of experience, having his equipment changed up and then using it, just understanding the situation and behaving is it's rare, to be honest. I really thought, he was acting up a bit in the post parade, but coming up to the car, he was behaved. And then halfway down the stretch, I'm like, in my mind, I knew that obviously Aaron was going to leave. I've watched Benjamin Hanover race a few times now. I thought there was a better than probably good chance he was going to run from the rail. But I actually didn't want him to. I wanted him to just be safe and get away third, which looked like it was going to happen. If that was the case, he's first over and I'm either second over or third over, one or the other. And it didn't work out that way. Benjamin did make that break. Ken dropped in the 2-hole. Now, I have an opportunity. Billy Davis, no dummy. Wins a lot of races, understands everything about racing, especially on a half-mile track. He's going to feed me the 3-hole because he's going to get me underway just past the quarter pole. So I'm going to be in for an 1/8 of a mile and underway again. I don't really like my chances doing that. It turned out it worked out worse, but I'm thinking I'm going to push on to the front. I know Aaron wants the front. I know he probably doesn't want to let me go. But I don't like what's behind door number 1. I'm going to try door number 2. And truthfully, if you're watching closely, he caught his knee. We took the knee boots off and they were rubbing him, and he touched his knee going to the quarter pole. And you saw him put that step in. He's got no head check on. And then come right up trotting. The problem was Aaron saw him do it. He was looking right over because he was pissed that I was coming. He was looking right at him when he did that. At that point, it's game on. He's going to park me. So I was so surprised. I know I can see what's about to take place. So, what you want to do is you're not going to run him into the ground. I'm not running him into the ground with my horse. I'm going to sit out and try and get as much as I can. I was so surprised how flexible Wallop was for a horse that was so hot last. Remember, I've never driven this horse. I've trained him a couple of times. I really like him, but I never sat behind him in a race setting. And I was so surprised how easily it was just to let him settle. This horse only got, 6, 7, 8 starts lifetime? Usually a horse in that position would get, a little wound and want to race, want to go on. He just sat there. He allowed me to pick away at him and keep him on Aaron's flank. You know what's going to happen. I know who's behind me now. Billy with one of the favorites. He flips 3 high. At that point, if I have any gas left in the tank, he should see that horse coming, even with the screen on, and spark up. That's exactly what he did. He started to advance. The problem was he was running in the turns. I felt like such an idiot, too. Jason had left the gating pole on the bike. I've driven horses for people. They come up and say, Anthony, he doesn't wear a gating pole. Do you just want to take it off? No, I'll just move it over. Don't worry about it. Worst case scenario, all I do is move it over. Best case scenario, it's on there if I need it, and I did need it. He was over on the left shaft a bit, a little rough in the turns. Not bad, but running in, we took the line pole off him because it was interfering with the martingale a little bit. He's got a ring martingale, and it got stuck in the Buxton, and we didn't have a head check, so we didn't wear a head pole, and could have put a Murphy on him. this is all learning for us too. We're trying to get him hung up perfect, but we've only had him 4 starts now. But in 2 of them, he was kind of uncontrollable. So we're in uncharted territory. And so is he. He's never raced like this before. Well, he kind of did last week, I guess. But around the last turn, I could see the horse in the 2-hole. If he was a coward, he would lose. But I couldn't foresee any other way he wasn't. It looked like Aaron was at a soap, and I wanted to just let him inch forward and then call on him at the head of the lane, whatever he'd have left. Maybe, if the racing gods smiled on us, we could get there. And then halfway down the lane, I knew I was third. But pleased with the way he raced. I think there's a lot we can do with this guy, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with him. Yeah, we lost going for 20 tonight. But you know what? He's going to win plenty of races going for 10 and 12 soon enough. So we didn't get what we were looking for tonight. I certainly didn't get what I was looking for, but the horse himself, I was impressed overall. I wasn't disappointed. That's the race I had to race 100 times. I would do the same thing. Going in that 3-hole, what you're saying is I'm okay with being first over, and I wasn't. I would rather push to the front and put Aaron in a spot where he would have to let me go. And if he hadn't touched his knee there, I think he would have had to let me go. At the end of the day, he was so quiet that I had trouble putting him in the position to begin with. But it's hard to believe that a horse was so crazy last week and the week before was so polite tonight. Overall, I'm glad that he was polite, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this guy, but I just don't see how it could have turned out any different. Benjamin Hanover running really maybe cost us the win, but who maybe he would have won. Who knows? So a little disappointed with getting parked, but it wasn't your typical leave and get parked. I had an option in the first turn. I chose the other path and ended up being parked. So the horse raced great. Very happy with him, and as I said a couple of times now, we're going to have a lot of fun with him. Earlier on at Mohawk, I got a lot of emails from people. Guys, you have to understand, one, if you send me an email directly after a race when I'm driving down the road and I'm in another country, going to another track, and you send me a message and say, what happened to this horse? How do you expect me to respond to this? If it's a lameness issue, diagnosing it won't happen now unless he hurt himself. And without me being there, I can't tell you, maybe it's his knee, maybe it's his foot. Who knows? But I can't possibly answer that. I know it's reflex. I know it's human nature. What happened to the horse? I don't know. I'm in another country. And the ones that do frustrate me a little bit are the people that jump to the knee-jerk reactions. Oh, let's just get rid of him. Oh, one of my partners said, put him in a claimer. We could put him in a $4,000 claimer. He's not going to get claimed right now. And nobody knew what had happened to him, least of all me. But let's not jump to conclusions until we know this is what happened. This is how we're going to manage this situation. But if I don't know, there's no way for you to know. Just give me a minute. Let's all just catch our breath. So I do know what happened with Oakwood Cowboy. I was actually surprised. I went back and watched White Tiger's race, and I was a little angry because I thought James could have raced him, and he didn't. But, knowing Tiger, I just know that you know what happens when you ask him to race. Sometimes you get what happened to Daryl Thiessen last week. So James knows him and tried that. What's this, like in his last 4 starts? This is twice now. He ran him into a blind switch, but that's what's going to happen sometimes, I guess. And you're going to have to deal with it. So I think subconsciously I was cursing James in my head. I meant to dial Amy and say, hey, what happened with Oakwood Cowboy? Did anybody scope him? Just let's start what we usually start to go through, the protocols that we have. Okay, he raced terrible. We know there's something wrong. Let's figure out what's not wrong with him first. That will help us diagnose what absolutely is wrong with him. Because maybe he did hit his knee. Maybe he was sore in a foot or something. That doesn't mean he didn't bleed also. So let's scope first. So again, I watched race 4 now. In my head, I'm probably saying some nasty things about James. I dialed James by accident. I think I'm dialing my wife, but I put James in my phone. Lo and behold, James must have had a race off. He picks up. I fess up. I said, I meant to call my wife. He goes, well, I'm not your wife. I said, yeah, I think it was me subconsciously angry that you didn't race White Tiger, and I punched your name in instead of my wife's. He goes, well, coming off that trip last week, I didn't want to quarter pole him with Dougie sitting in the 2-hole because as soon as I clear to the front, he's coming again. And I know what he's thinking. I would rather stay here, wait for Dougie to get the favorite out, follow him through, and see what we can do. He didn't do that either, but whatever. He raced okay. It bothers me. I'm going to bite a hole in my lip, but whatever. We've all seen this show before. Both sides of the coin with Tiger. If you drive him too aggressively, more times than not, he does the moonwalk, a variation of it. If you drive him too easy, he's climbing over horses and he looks like Mac Lobel. We've seen the movie before. I get it. And this is why I dialed James by accident. James picks up. I said, hey, he says, whatever. I said, Tiger, hey, maybe schedule him in for a race one of these days. And he goes, yeah, the race last week, whatever. So I knew what he was thinking. And I said, what about the Cowboy? And he goes, I actually really like that horse. Pardon me? He said, he was destroying my bike tonight. So I don't remember us needing a special bike for him. I think he might have wore a big one here, but we wore a normal bike on him at Georgian Downs. He said, if he had cracked my bike, I wouldn't have been surprised. He was hitting it so hard. He said that he was pacing the turns great, and in the turns just destroying my bike. He said it was so bad, he had blue paint all over his left hind foot, and he was a little sore on it coming off the track. He was fine after. He said he must have hit the bolt there a couple of times. He said, but literally, Anthony, his foot was blue. He had blue on his foot from the paint of my bike. He said, yeah, I like him. I like that horse. Oh, my God. Oh, I thought I was going to get read the riot act. I thought I was going to get yelled at. Why would you put this pig in here, and why would you do this, and why would you do that? I can't believe you'd race this horse, and no. I was so dumbfounded. I was so shocked. No, I like that horse, he said. I didn't see that one coming. So, for all my partners out there, I don't want to keep making excuses, but he is our horse now. I don't need to make any excuses. It is what it is. You saw the same thing I saw. He was not lame. He was fine after. What you saw is his gait being interrupted every stride because he was pounding the wheel. And if you think I'm wrong, go watch him pace the last turn. Go watch him pace the first turn. Never put a ripple in. It was just in the straightaways, which I thought was so weird. Now I don't. So a guy who generally doesn't like horses that can't win said he likes the horse in James. I was still shocked. I can't believe I'm saying that. No, he said he really liked him. So he likes Oakwood Cowboy. He'll be back in next week. We do have a bigger bike, so that's good news. I still can't wrap my head around it. I don't understand. We never had to wear a special bike on him at Georgian. Now, Northfield and Georgian are actually smaller, obviously, than Mohawk, but never any feedback from any driver saying, hey, he's hitting the bike. Not one time. In fact, he raced at Mohawk last week, in Daryl Thiessen's bike. And not a word about him hitting the bike. I'm going to have to ask Daryl, but he would have said something. Anyway, the Cowboy horse, James likes him apparently. He thought he was good. He just felt bad for him. He said he was just crushing his bike. White Tiger, blind switch, check. And the horse tonight, I don't think I'm as happy with him as James is with Cowboy, I guess. Only we get paid a little more. We get a little drink. Didn't get what we wanted. Didn't get what we could have got. But when I look at the overall race with the one horse making a break, I don't know me coming first over at the quarter changes anything. I think it's still the same result, isn't it? Aaron's not letting me go at the quarter. The horse in the 2-hole still fresh. I don't think I had enough to collar him regardless. I actually believe I got everything I was going to get just the way the race turned out. Now, we know it's easy to make him crazy. We know now it's actually shockingly easy to make him quiet. We can float around in the middle at any point. I think this is going to be a nice horse for us. So a great day top to bottom. 5 fish species was awesome in Monticello. So congratulations to all my partners there. Great conversation and a great result. Now for a filly that I wasn't sure, and other people named Scott seemed pretty sure that she couldn't do in the Excelsior. He was just being conservative. Don't blame him. She certainly can. In fact, she looks like a serious contender in there. So congrats to everybody across the board, and thank you, Steve, for pushing for that. Certainly nothing wrong with that. Pickpocket was sensational in another horse hitting the bike. So weird, eh? Now, he has touched the bike before. That's why we wear the gate and pole, but never hit it hard, although he's never trotted as hard like that before. Obviously, the hobbles, as I said to Eric, he doesn't really need them, but you know what? No more babying him. Baby races were in June. It's big boy time. And he was certainly rose to the occasion today. I think there's lots more in there. Another horse that in the past has been hot, and today, loose noodle the whole way. Picking at him, chirping at him, roaring at him. None of that before. When he was in Oak Grove, if you so much as roared at him once, it was game on. He's starting to round into a smarter individual and understand his job. So very happy there. Scotty can drive him next week. Both him, Militant, are hung up good. Eric's got a good handle on both Militant, Pickpocket, and Arson. Don't think Anthony needs to reappear in Lexington until the sale. We're not talking about the sale. So happy in that regard. Lonely Lakewood, I just think he was slipping today. We're going to bring him back. He's coming back with, what's her name? Cupid Express. They're getting shipped back tomorrow. Megan is entering them all tomorrow. They're going to be shipped immediately to Megan. Gives us time to get them shod here in Ohio. Get any vet work done on them that needs, and then sent directly to Megan. She can race the horses Sunday at Poconos, and I'm going to be there. 5. We didn't sell. We actually paid to keep Victory Blue Chip today. We changed some shoes on him and have the vet go over him tomorrow. Same thing with Lonely Lakewood when he gets here. Everybody else seems to be in pretty good working order. Super excited about Activation, Vaquero Blue Chip, and Memory and Imagination. A little less excited until I see a better side of them from Lonely Lakewood and Victory Blue Chip. But listen, I think our memories are all pretty good. Lonely Lakewood was one of our best colts training down. It's in there. He didn't like the clay track. He didn't like the deep stuff. He'll have he'll still be soft at the Poconos, but we'll have him hung up a little bit different. I guess the question I need to answer before tomorrow morning for Megan is, do we race Lonely Lakewood with hobbles on or not? As good as Pickpocket was with them on, I didn't really find Lonely Lakewood that good at all with them on. But was it the hobbles? Was it the track? I wish I could answer that. I can't. I don't know. So I'll think about that. I'll sleep on that. And then already excited about insider trading and all the fillies on Thursday. Crantini even. And the Colts on Friday. It's going to be a fun week. But tomorrow's Tuesday. I'm going back to Ontario. I woke up Sunday, went to Ontario, drove back to Cleveland and raced. Got up, drove to Kentucky, drove back to Cleveland, got parked the whole way. That sucked. And now tomorrow going back to Ontario. That's my day off. And then Wednesday, Amy's trying to arrange it so that the family, we can all come over for some family time. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, back Saturday. So with that, I'll let you guys go. I'll talk to you all very soon. I hope you had an okay night. Wasn't a bad night. Oakwood Cowboy explained. There you go. White Tiger. Yes. And the little man, Wallop, raced pretty good also. I'm sorry, I can't have a video on today without talking about how good Sunset Acres girl was. I finally saw the replay. She looked great. Donnie's doing a great job with her. 4 for 5 in her life now, I think. She looked awesome again today. So congratulations to Donnie and Krista. Did a great job. Riley, caretaker, did a great job also. And it looks like Sunset Acres girls having a good time in Michigan. So a good day. We were winners in New York, Michigan, and Kentucky today. I wish I could add Ohio to it, but I can't. So I'll talk to you all soon, though. Have a wonderful rest of your night. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Take care.